Stop looking in the mirror because attraction has nothing to do with what you see there. Right now, you might be dangerously attractive and not even know it. Not because of your face, your body, or your style. Those things are superficial. What I'm talking about runs deeper. It's the kind of attraction that makes people gravitate toward you without understanding why, the kind that creates respect, admiration, and genuine connection. Today, I'm breaking down the four signs that reveal you're dangerously attractive through the Stoic lens. These aren't things you can fake. They're not tricks or techniques. They're genuine qualities that develop when you commit to the Stoic path of self-mastery and virtue. If you recognize these signs in yourself, you're already more attractive than 95% of people walking around obsessing over their looks. If you don't see them yet, this video will show you exactly what to develop. Let's begin. Sign 1. People feel calm and safe in and your presence. The first sign of dangerous attraction is paradoxical. You make people feel at peace, not excited, not stimulated, not entertained, calm, safe, grounded. This is the rarest form of attraction because it requires something most people don't have: internal peace that radiates outward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you truly embody this principle, when you're not constantly reactive to external circumstances, people feel it. They experience your presence as a refuge from the chaos of their own minds and the turbulence of the world. Think about the people you're most drawn to in your own life. Chances are they're not the loudest, the flashiest, or the most attention-seeking. They're the ones who seem unshakable, the ones who don't get rattled by drama, the ones whose energy feels solid, reliable, grounded. This quality is dangerously attractive because it's so rare. Most people are walking anxiety machines, broadcasting their stress, their reactivity, their emotional instability into every interaction. They're constantly seeking validation, approval, distraction. Their energy is chaotic and draining. But when you've done the Stoic work of developing internal stability, when you've practiced not being controlled by external circumstances, when you've cultivated genuine peace within yourself, you become a lighthouse in a storm. People don't just like being around you, they need to be around you. Your presence becomes restorative. Epictetus taught his students to distinguish between what they can control and what they cannot. This practice done consistently creates profound internal peace. You stop wasting energy, fighting reality. You stop being thrown off balance by every difficulty. You develop a centered quality that others can sense immediately. Here's how this shows up practically. Someone shares a crisis with you. While others panic or offer anxious reassurances, you remain calm, not dismissive, not uncaring, but genuinely steady. Your calmness doesn't minimize their problem. It provides a stable foundation from which they can think clearly. You're in a chaotic environment. Everyone around you is stressed and reactive. You remain composed, not because you're suppressing emotions, but because you've trained yourself not to be controlled by circumstances. People notice this. They feel safer around you because they sense you won't add to the chaos. This isn't about being emotionless or detached. The Stoics weren't robots. They felt deeply, but they didn't allow their feelings to control them. They maintained what Marcus Aurelius called the inner citadel, a core of stability that external events couldn't breach. When you develop this quality, people are attracted to you in a way that goes beyond surface-level interest. They trust you. They seek your counsel. They want to be near you because your presence reminds them that peace is possible. That's dangerously attractive. The sign you have, this people consistently tell you that talking to you makes them feel better, calmer, more grounded. They seek you out during difficult times. They describe your presence using words like peaceful, steady, or safe. That's not boring. That's magnetic in the deepest way possible. Sign 2, you don't seek validation, and it drives people crazy. The second sign of dangerous attraction is your complete indifference to approval. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not performing for an audience. You're not changing yourself to be liked. And paradoxically, this makes people want your approval desperately. Seneca wrote, "The man who thinks only of himself is in constant turmoil." Most people are prisoners to the opinions of others. They modify their behavior, their speech, their very personality based on who's watching. They need constant validation to feel okay about themselves. But when you internalized Stoic principles, when you've built your self worth on internal virtues rather than external validation, you become free. And that freedom is intoxicating to others. Think about how most people interact. They're constantly gauging reactions. Did that joke land? Do they think I'm smart? Am I impressive enough? This desperate need for approval seeps through every interaction, and it's repulsive in a subtle way. It communicates weakness, insecurity, lack of self possession. But when you genuinely don't need validation, when you're secure in yourself regardless of others' opinions, it changes the entire dynamic. You speak your truth without checking if people agree. You make decisions based on your values, not on what will be praised. You're comfortable with silence instead of filling it with approval, seeking conversation. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in Rome, constantly reminded himself that others' opinions were ultimately irrelevant to his character. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This quality is dangerously attractive because it's the opposite of what people are used to. Everyone else is bending themselves into pretzels trying to be liked. You're just being yourself, completely indifferent to whether they approve or not. This creates a vacuum. People become curious. They want to understand you. They want to earn your approval because it's clear you don't need theirs. Here's how this manifests. You express an unpopular opinion. Instead of backtracking, when met with disagreement, you simply let it stand. You're not aggressive or defensive, just unconcerned with convincing anyone. This confidence is magnetic. You receive a compliment. Instead of false modesty or excessive gratitude, you simply accept it without needing to turn it into a longer exchange about your worth. You know your value isn't determined by compliments, so you don't cling to them. Sign 3, you speak less, but people listen more. The third sign of dangerous attraction is the power of your silence and the weight of your words. You're not the loudest person in the room. You're not dominating every conversation. But when you do speak, people stop and pay attention. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak. The Stoics understood that constant talking is often a sign of insecurity, a desperate attempt to fill space, to be noticed, to matter. But when you've cultivated genuine self-possession, you don't need to constantly broadcast your thoughts. You're comfortable with silence. You listen more than you speak. And when you do contribute, it's measured, considered, substantial. This quality is dangerously attractive because it stands in stark contrast to the noise most people generate in a world where everyone is fighting for attention, in their opinions, desperately trying to be heard. Someone who speaks sparingly but meaningfully becomes magnetic. Marcus Aurelius practiced careful speech. He would often pause before responding, considering whether his words would add value. He wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This discipline created weight behind his words. When he spoke, it mattered. Think about how this plays out in social situations. Most people are anxiously filling every silence, jumping from topic to topic, competing for conversational dominance. They're so focused on what they're going to say next that they're not actually listening to anyone else. But you're different. You're present. You're listening deeply. You're not waiting for your turn to talk. You're genuinely engaged with what others are saying. And when you do speak, it's because you have something worth saying, not just to hear your own voice. This creates a powerful dynamic. People start directing questions to you, seeking your input, wanting to know your perspective, because they've noticed that when you contribute, it's usually insightful, considered, valuable. Your words carry weight because you don't waste them on meaningless filler. Epictetus taught his students to practice economy of speech, not to be silent always, but to be intentional with words, to speak when speech serves a purpose, to remain quiet when silence serves better. Sign 4, your actions speak louder than your words. The fourth and perhaps most powerful sign of dangerous attraction is this: You don't talk about what you're going to do. You just do it. You don't announce your plans, your goals, your intentions. You demonstrate them through consistent action. Epictetus taught, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. This is the ultimate form of attraction because it's based on substance, not image. While everyone else is performing, declaring, promising, you're quietly building, consistently showing up, proving through action rather than through words. This quality is dangerously attractive because most people are the opposite. They announce grand plans that never materialize. They talk constantly about what they're going to do without actually doing it. They need to be seen making effort, need recognition for intention rather than results. But the Stoic approach is different. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for publication. He wrote them as private reminders to himself. He was working on his character, not for applause, but for his own development. This lack of performance, this genuine commitment to improvement, regardless of recognition, is magnetic. Think about how this manifests. Someone says they're going to start a business and talks about it constantly. You actually start one. Mention it only when directly asked and let your results speak. Someone posts every workout, every healthy meal, every step of their journey for validation. You just consistently do the work without broadcasting it. 6 months later, the transformation speaks for itself. Someone is always talking about the book they're going to write, the project they're going to start, the change they're going to make. You quietly work on yours, and people discover it when it's already done. This isn't about hiding your accomplishments or false modesty. It's about not needing external validation for your efforts. It's about finding satisfaction in the doing rather than in being seen doing, and this self-sufficiency is incredibly attractive. Seneca warned about the danger of doing things for appearance rather than virtue. He understood that when your motivation is external approval, your efforts are hollow and unsustainable. But when your motivation is internal commitment to excellence, your actions have authentic power. 4 signs. That's all you need to recognize whether you possess the kind of attraction that runs deeper than appearance, deeper than charm, deeper than anything superficial. You make people feel calm and safe in your presence. You don't seek validation, and it drives people crazy. You speak less, but people listen more. Your actions speak louder than your words. These qualities aren't about manipulation. They're not techniques to get people to like you. They're the natural byproducts of living, according to Stoic principles, developing internal peace, building self-worth on virtue rather than opinion, practicing intentional speech, and letting your character show through action. Marcus Aurelius understood that true attraction comes from genuine excellence of character, not the performance of excellence, but the real thing, not the image of strength, but actual strength, not the appearance of wisdom, but wisdom itself. The beautiful thing about this kind of attraction, you can develop it. These aren't genetic gifts, they're practices. Every day, you choose to work on internal peace rather than external validation. Every conversation where you listen more than you speak. Every time you take action, instead of just talking about action, you're building these qualities. And here's what the Stoics knew that most people miss. When you stop trying to be attractive and start focusing on becoming excellent, attraction happens naturally. When you stop performing for others and start developing yourself, people are drawn to the authenticity. The world is full of people trying to be noticed, trying to be impressive, trying to be liked. Most of them are exhausting. But the person who has developed genuine character, who has internal peace, who doesn't need validation, who speaks with intention, who proves themselves through action, that person is dangerously attractive, not to everyone, but to the people who matter. The Stoics didn't pursue attraction. They pursued virtue. But virtue, fully embodied, is the most attractive quality there is. So stop obsessing over your appearance. Stop trying to impress people. Stop performing for validation. Instead, do the inner work. Develop peace. Build genuine self-worth. Practice meaningful speech. Let your actions speak. Do this consistently, and you won't just be attractive. You'll be dangerously attractive in the way that actually matters, in the way that creates real respect, real trust, real connection. That's the Stoic path. not to be seen as great, but to actually be great. The attraction that follows is just a side effect of excellence.